In a stunning development, Zinedine Zidane was recently spotted at Old Trafford alongside businessman Jim Ratcliffe, sparking speculation about a potential new era for Manchester United. Zidane's presence has ignited excitement among fans and pundits, raising the possibility of him stepping in as the club's head coach. Manchester United, a club that has struggled with inconsistent performances and a lack of clear direction, may see Zidane as the transformative figure they desperately need. His impressive track record, including 3 consecutive UEFA Champions League titles with Real Madrid, demonstrates his ability to build winning teams and manage top talent. Zidane's expertise could help revitalize United's fortunes, creating a cohesive team that plays with ambition and creativity. The appearance of Jim Ratcliffe, a lifelong Manchester United supporter and prominent British billionaire, adds another layer of intrigue. Ratcliffe has been interested in investing in the club, aiming to restore its former glory. A partnership with Zidane might symbolize a fresh start for Manchester United, fueled by financial investment and strong leadership. This potential collaboration has fans buzzing with excitement. Zidane's tactical brilliance and Ratcliffe's commitment to success could herald a return to Manchester United's rich tradition of attacking, free-flowing football. Supporters envision a future where the club once again competes at the highest levels of European football, guided by a clear vision and winning mentality. However, this story raises many questions. What will happen to the current coaching staff? How will the players adapt to Zidane's style? Will he recruit established stars or develop young talent? Zidane's appointment could represent a cultural shift within the club, with his leadership fostering renewed discipline, purpose, and ambition. As the football world watches closely, the excitement around Zidane's potential involvement continues to build. Could this be the turning point that Manchester United has been waiting for, marking the dawn of a new era filled with success and a return to glory? Time will tell. The late morning sun rised through the thin gray clouds hanging over Carrington training ground, casting long shadows on the pitch. The crisp autumn wind carried the faint scent of damp grass and the distant hum of the nearby motorway. Inside the Manchester United training facility, Erik ten Hag stood silently, his sharp eyes scanning the field. He took in the sight of his players, some focused, others battling inner demons, and a few brimming with nervous energy. This was the day, the training session before the Europa League clash against Fenerbahce. For Erik, it wasn't just another game, it was a test. The media had been relentless, painting him as a man on the brink, a manager losing his grip. Whispers of replacements were growing louder with each passing week. But Erik was no stranger to pressure. He had built his career defying expectations, and here with his team, he would do it again. "All right, lads," he called out, clapping his hands together. The players, sweaty and tired from the morning drills, jogged towards him. Marcus Rashford, still nursing the weight of recent criticism, glanced over at Bruno Fernandes, who gave him a reassuring nod. Beside them, Alejandro Garnacho stretched his legs, eager for his chance to prove himself. The day was far from over. "We focus today. The hard work shows tomorrow," Ten Hag continued, his voice firm. He could sense the tension in the squad after a disappointing start to the Premier League season. They needed this. The fans demanded it. Carrington buzzed with anticipation and unspoken frustration, but there was no room for doubt here. The last few weeks had been brutal for Marcus Rashford. The media had turned on him, calling his form abysmal and accusing him of complacency. Every missed shot, every misplaced pass had become a headline. And worse, the once unwavering support from the fans had started to waver. Rashford felt the weight of the city's eyes on him, watching, waiting for him to falter. That night, as he sat alone in his apartment overlooking the Manchester skyline, Rashford replayed the words of his critics. He had always been the hometown hero, the boy who rose from the streets of Wythenshawe to Old Trafford's bright lights. But now, it felt different. The warmth, had gone cold. He reached for his phone, scrolling through the hateful messages online before tossing it aside with a frustrated sigh. Tomorrow was another chance, a chance to silence them all. Erik had pulled him aside after training, eyes stern but full of belief. "You're not done, Marcus." "Far from it," Ten Hag had said, his Dutch accent thick. "But you have to fight for this. The past is gone. Tomorrow is all that matters." Rashford nodded, those words now echoing in his mind as he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Fenerbahce was no easy opponent. The Turkish giants had their own ambitions, and they wouldn't give Manchester United an inch. But Marcus knew this was more than just a match. It was a shot at redemption. He drifted into a restless sleep, the roar of Old Trafford lingering on the edges of his dreams. Across the continent, in the vibrant streets of Istanbul, another man prepared for battle. Jose Mourinho, once the revered Special One at Manchester United, now stood on the opposite side of the touchline. His Fenerbahce side had been strong in recent weeks, and he relished the chance to return to Old Trafford, albeit as the adversary. There was something poetic about it, something deliciously inevitable. Mourinho sat in his dimly lit office, watching footage of Manchester United's recent matches. He smiled grimly. "Ten Hag's under pressure," he muttered to himself. He knew the feeling all too well. The weight of the fans, the media, the board, it was crushing, and the Dutchman was starting to feel it. "I've been there," he thought. The press conferences, the sly digs, the constant questioning of his decisions. He had tasted both triumph and despair at Old Trafford, and now he was returning with one goal in mind: to prove that Manchester United, despite its wealth, its history, and its fan base, was vulnerable. His phone buzzed. It was a message from his assistant, confirming the final lineup for tomorrow's clash. Mourinho allowed himself a moment to reflect on his time at the English club. There had been glory. His Europa League win was still etched in the fans' memories. But there had been bitterness too. And now, as he prepared his team for battle, that bitterness would fuel him. Tomorrow, he would walk onto the pitch, hear the boos, and smile. Because Jose Mourinho had nothing to lose and everything to gain. The following evening, Old Trafford stood under the cold Manchester night sky, its iconic floodlights cutting through the darkness. The air was thick with anticipation as fans poured into the stadium, scarves wrapped tightly around their necks, faces flushed with excitement and hope. For many, this Europa League tie against Fenerbahce was more than just another fixture. In the tunnel, the players lined up, waiting for the referee's signal to lead them out. Rashford stood near the front, his heart pounding in his chest. Beside him, Fernandes bounced lightly on his feet, his eyes focused and sharp. Alejandro Garnacho, the young Argentine starlet, gazed up at the towering stadium around him, feeling a mixture of awe and determination. At the other end of the tunnel, Mourinho stood with his team, arms crossed and a look of quiet confidence etched on his face. He caught Rashford's eye as the teams began to walk out, giving him a knowing look. Marcus returned the gaze but quickly turned away, focusing on the roar of the crowd. The game began with a frenzy of action. United, determined to start strong, pressed Fenerbahce high up the pitch, forcing early mistakes. Bruno Fernandes was in his element, pulling the strings in midfield, finding pockets of space that left the Turkish side scrambling. But Fenerbahce, well organized under Mourinho's tactical mastery, absorbed the pressure and looked to counterattack at every opportunity. 20 minutes in, Rashford received the ball on the left wing, his marker tight on his heels. With a sudden burst of pace, he surged past the defender, cutting inside and unleashing a curling shot towards the top corner. The stadium held its breath. The ball sailed inches wide of the post, and Rashford dropped his head, hands on his knees. As the game wore on, tension began to creep into the air. United had created chances, but Fenerbahce, disciplined and resolute, refused to be broken. The Turkish side had their moments too quick, sharp counters that kept the United defense on edge. Mourinho, pacing the touchline, could sense the frustration growing among the United players. He had seen this before players who began to doubt themselves, question their own ability when the game wasn't going their way. And Mourinho knew how to exploit that. A well-placed free kick from Fenerbahce in the 68th minute saw the ball swing dangerously into the box. United's defense, momentarily out of sync, failed to clear, and Fenerbahce's striker pounced. The ball hit the back of the net, and suddenly, Old Trafford was silent, save for the pockets of jubilant Turkish fans who had made the journey to witness this moment. 10. Hag stood on the sidelines, fists clenched. He knew what this goal meant. Mourinho had done it again, but there was still time. He barked orders at his players, urging them forward, demanding more intensity, more focus. Rashford, feeling the weight of the moment, pushed himself harder. This was his chance to make things right. The clock ticked relentlessly toward the 90th minute, and Manchester United threw everything they had at the Turkish side. Cross after cross flew into the box, but Fenerbahce's defenders cleared every one. Bruno Fernandes continued to create, weaving through midfield, delivering perfect balls to the forwards, but still, the goal eluded them. In the 88th minute, Rashford found himself in possession once again, just outside the box. The crowd, sensing this could be it, rose to their feet. He hesitated for just a second, then drove forward, cutting inside two defenders with a deft touch. The opening was there. He struck the ball cleanly hard, low, and true. This time, there was no stopping it. The ball rifled past the goalkeeper and into the bottom corner. Old Trafford erupted. Rashford, arms raised, sprinted towards the corner flag, his teammates swarming him in celebration. Relief washed over him like a wave. He had done it. He had silenced the doubters, if only for tonight.